to international relations and diplomacy, the general perception is that diplomats, especially ambassadors, are men, and typically older men. And I think we represent the changing face of diplomacy. We are women, we're 4 out of 25. In my case, I am the youngest ambassador in Washington, and that's another thing which I didn't speak about earlier on, but it's an important aspect to consider, which is that there is a generation of younger persons taking up important positions at an earlier age.
It is necessary to have this conversation because, as my ambassador from Liechtenstein had said, women had entered the workforce much later. So you have now women rising through the ranks and are now occupying prominent positions. So I would urge you to think of diplomacy as an option. It is a most rewarding option, and you will have the opportunity of perhaps shaping some part of your country's foreign policy.
The challenge is also for foreign ministries all over the globe when they recruit young people for the diplomatic service. They just can no longer expect that a diplomat will have a partner who is willing to accompany him or her anywhere, to suspend, give up, or postpone his or her career. I mean, professionals marry professionals in most parts of the world these days, and it is a challenge for foreign services to become also more flexible and to actually think about compensating the spouse, the partner, because he or she, in most cases, contributes to a great deal that the other half of the family can function accordingly.
Diplomacy used to be a male predominant, but now it's changing. In our cases, for example, we see in Cape Verde we have more and more girls entering the diplomatic service, studying foreign relations, and entering the diplomatic service. So this is something that is changing, but we need to talk, to continue to talk, because we need to show that we women have the skills, can have the competence to do this work, and we can do this work very well.
You've talked about youth entrepreneurship, international entrepreneurship. What kinds of programs or educational programs could you offer to UDC students who would want to study abroad in your countries?
One of the projects of the Embassy of Antigua and Barbuda is to go out and form partnerships with universities. We have a very strong partnership with Lehigh University. And what has happened is that we have an internship program, or they have an internship program at Lehigh, whereby every year a student from the state college, which goes up to the level of offering an associate degree, the top student in the finance and management department, they come up to Lehigh University for a 6-week program. On a similar level, an entrepreneur or any person who is deemed to be a remarkable young person in Antigua and Barbuda, they go to the famed Lehigh Coker Center at Lehigh University for another internship program. So in other words, we have been receiving from Lehigh University, but we believe in reciprocity. So Lehigh University is now going down to Antigua next year to do a community-based program whereby they will be exposed to the wonders and the rich culture of Antigua and Barbuda, while at the same time doing community work. So in terms of UDC, we would certainly be very pleased, I speak on behalf of Antigua and Barbuda, to be able to partner with you, to be able to offer you what we are offering other universities. And in this case, this is Lehigh University. So let's talk.
We have actually only 2, and both of them are small academic institutions. They are both very young, and we are only now starting to look into student exchange programs. So we are still in the learning process.
We normally receive students at the master level, and because they can then support our institution, namely in learning, in teaching English, because we think that English is very important for a country like Cape that is promoting more businesses and investment. And our official language is Portuguese, and the national language is Creole. So we need to master the English language, and most of them are supporting us in promoting and improving the English skills of our students back home, not only at the level of the high school, but also at the university level.
In the case of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and this goes back to what I said earlier about our population size, we do not have a university. Our population is 110,000, and like many other countries in the Caribbean, we do not have our own university. What we have is the University of the West Indies, which is an institution that was put together by all the countries. There are 3 campuses, one in Barbados, one in Jamaica, and one in Trinidad and Tobago. So in terms of an even exchange, that may be a little difficult to facilitate, but I think that there are other ways that we can possibly collaborate, such as a student who wants to do an exchange that focuses on community work, for example, which is also a vital aspect of international relations, then maybe that could be done through the Peace Corps or such similar institutions.
I wanted to take the opportunity to thank the ambassadors too, but also to talk to the students and to UDC of the importance of really getting involved in international affairs and in global affairs, and to say to these young people that there are many opportunities in the U.S. government to serve your country, to serve in the Foreign Service, and I am one of the products who would have never thought I would have gone anywhere in the world but have traveled the globe. And I say you should really look into establishing yourself in the U.S. Foreign Service, and there are 5 different foreign affairs agencies that you can go into. Many people just think of State Department, but there's Commerce, Agriculture, State Department, the Peace Corps, USAID, and I think my being here and Ambassador being here, there are many opportunities and many ambassadors in this city that you can reach out to, including the Black Ambassadors of the United States, which is another organization, and the DPIA. And with UDC being right here in Washington, D.C., the hub of diplomacy, we are looking for young people to get in the Foreign Service to travel the globe.
I have one question that I want to ask, which is really dear to me, and that is the education of girls in the developing country, and most of you represent that. And I've heard you also say that you don't have like these big universities in your countries. So I want to just have a commitment. I'm a member of the staff here at UDC, and if we can get a commitment from you, maybe 5 girls per year from your countries, and we will do our best to accommodate them. 5 girls from each of your countries, or bigger, depending on what you can afford, and maybe the embassy can facilitate that, to come to UDC. And you also had the representative from BPIA say that they can afford some scholarships. So maybe this is a way, we can work together. You can bring the girls to come to school, because I believe the education they get here would be really helpful to them, and to bring them into international leadership of your, what do you think? I think that's a really good idea. Thank you.
This is a great opportunity, and I'm wondering what, if all, is a possibility that we could put together sort of a collaborative training program in leaderships, specific emphasis on perhaps ladies across, across the continent, as well as entrepreneurship. And how could that work out so that we got some beautiful ambassadors here, okay? And the idea is, how could we perhaps through the office here of International Programs and Exchange put together a collaborative leadership training program with the countries, and maybe go after some grants, USAID grants, things like that, for training and entrepreneurship and also leadership.
What I would like us to do as the host here is to compile these suggestions, ideas, and make sure that we get them to the ambassadors. They're very thoughtful women, very thoughtful ambassadors, and they need the time to process. And I see everyone writing, I see the looks, I see the ideas going. So we want to follow up and make sure that we do our part and just don't wait until the next time they come, but that we make these connections and we keep them alive, and we give them the opportunity to look at our ideas in writing. We get our proposals to them, and we make sure that we can follow up with them. I want to thank all of you for coming, and I want to thank all of our ambassadors. And I'd like to give you, would you just like a moment each to just do a summary and make a final comment, and then we can end our program.
I think your approach is exactly the right one, namely that you will compile them, get back to us, I think you can count on us being receptive. I would have an answer, an individual one to all the 3 questions in terms of how to take those ideas further. But thank you very much for asking them. I am sure that today's event is the beginning of an ongoing relationship with all of us.
What we're really dealing with is people. And as my sister Claudia has said, this meeting this morning has generated so many practical ways in which we might strengthen the relationship between our countries and between our people. So you have given much food for thought, and we look forward to ingesting, digesting, and coming up with a way in order to prepare a wonderful meal so that we might move this process forward. So I dare say this is not the end, but the beginning of this very important conversation. So thank you so very much, everyone, for giving us much food for thought.
That I'm available for a follow-up conversation if you find that it's interesting for you to focus on a certain aspect of diplomacy or on the relations between our 2 countries. And I really commend you for the proposal that you put forward, and you can be sure that we'll work on that and we'll come to you in order to deepen more and see how will be the best modality to put it in practice. Thank you so much.
I found this to be a most fruitful exercise. I was very keen on the questions that were posed, and there seems to be promise for follow-up. I am speaking right directly now to the students who you are actually going to be the future leaders, whether in the private sector, public sector, government, and it's important for me to bring to you my perspectives on my country because you, in a future capacity, may be dealing with my country, and so it's a great opportunity for me to familiarize you with what might lie in your future, and so this has been an invaluable opportunity for me, and I look forward to being given the opportunity to expand on what we have discussed here today. Thank you very much.